that nothing definitely was going to stop us. And by that, lockdown or no lockdown, whether there was MRT, public transport, whether there were flights, we were going to be moving ahead and delivering services. I remember this very vividly, March 16, when 15 or 16, when it was locked down the first time in 2020. In 2 days, we were delivering desktops to our agents for them to work at home. And that's kind of unheard of. We were pushing almost 200, 300 folks working from home, and continuously delivering the services for our US and our Australian clients. And so we've been credited by our clients in doing that brilliantly, along with 2 to 3 weeks later delivering microsites and pushing those microsites near agents' homes. Our footprint is predominantly in Metro Manila. Today we're also in Pampanga, but 24/7's footprint is mostly in BGC, in Ortigas, in Mandaluyong, and in 2020 we were also in Makati. Given that footprint, you can imagine, Grace, when transportation was stopped, there was really no way to get to the office. And our immediate COVID reaction to it was to actually bring the site near our agent homes. And we understand our agents may be living either within Metro Manila or in the fringes of Metro Manila. And that's where we immediately put up a lot of microsites. And by a lot of microsites, BPOs are used to building sites that are 900, 1,000, 2,000 seats in scale, in size, because that's how our business works. Our business works based on scale. But knowing then the risks that people face and really going by a very human-centric design, looking at what people want more than what the business needs, what we did was to actually create 3 or 4 microsites around the fringes of the metro. And by the fringes of the metro, wala siya sa Metro Manila, pero it's residing right outside of Metro Manila. Places like Cavite, Rizal, and up north, at the edges of Quezon City. Yun yung ginawa namin so that we're bringing more the sites to the people rather than asking people to go to the site. So if I fast forward from that time to now, the business is totally different. I think it's very clear, and there are a lot more knowns now than unknowns. So we've actually felt, and I'll probably call it a roller coaster ride, right? We probably felt like we were on our way to losing business, to gaining so much business that we couldn't take in the demand. And then at a certain point now, as it kind of moves into the new normal, with a lot more knowns in the equation, I think we have an understanding of how our business is actually going to unfold in the next few years. So I think that's how the journey for us has been, Grace.
Well, that's good to know. And not only that, it's very overwhelming to understand, working from home, all right, and also delivering PCs to 200 or more, maybe more than 200 manpower under 24/7 AI, all right? So it's really about reaching out also to this manpower to help out. And not only that, I check, number 4. So, of course, the goal is always going to number 1. So how are you going to do that? Especially, again, we're still in pandemic, right? We can check also that the rate is still going up. Before, when we had the 5,000, it's shut down. And now, if I'm not mistaken, like 6,000 going to 7,000. So how are you going to do that? Making it to number 1.
All right. Thanks for that, Grace. And you're right. The goal is always to be the number 1 in that stack rank. But I think also, I credit my guys, my teams, and the folks that work in 24/7 for even getting us to number 4. I always look at 24/7 as we're punching a higher weight class, and by that, I'm a fan of Manny Pacquiao, and he was fighting in weight categories that he probably wasn't even supposed to be in, right? And I feel that 24/7 is the same. You look at the top 10 list, and we're probably a company of about 4,800 people. Our footprint is Metro Manila and Pampanga. But you look at the other companies that are there in the top 3, top 10 list, and those companies are of large scale, like, ultra large scale companies, right? So I'm really proud that we've reached number 4. To even inch into, number 3 or number 2 in the next few years would be totally, we definitely would take a lot of 24/7 pride with us in doing that. Now, the second part of your question, how to reach, how to improve in terms of our people engagement or being number one. I think we stick to our core. And by that, I think the crisis has told us that as leaders, it was not anymore about harmonizing the different stakeholders of the company. Sanay tayo dun eh. As leaders, we looked at the different stakeholders, our clients, our customers, our board, and then our people. And then we said, how do I make everybody happy? That's the job of us as leaders, di ba? But that has totally shifted. And I think the way to move up in that stack rank, and I think what the crisis has taught us as leaders is, hindi na siya balancing act between the 4 or 5. Because today, you have to put your people and you have to put your designs, and by designs, all of your processes, all of your systems, where you have your workforce in the middle, right? Dati, everyone was balanced. Kailangan masaya lahat. Now, you make your workforce first and foremost really ultra happy. And by that, their happiness is not just today about, pay, about their teammates. It's really all about understanding how they manage through their own risks, how they manage through their own health and safety. And by that, they're not alone. Company's not alone. It's really a partnership between them and us. And by that, you need to have continuous discussion, and you need to be a company that actually goes and is willing to talk and willing to listen to people. And I think you layer on top of that all of the principles today that is needed to promote a company that holds diversity and inclusion the highest. I think we're probably on our way to, maybe we'll inch up to number 3 or number 2 in the next few years. So I think those are the things that my team's working on, and those are the things that I think, we go to the job market and we tell them, this is the experience you're going to have when you're with 24/7. So that's what we're doing, Grace.
Okay, so happiness, going to number 2, or let's say number 3 to number 2, it's all about happiness. Actually, I'm happy right now. You're here with us. Okay, but then again, when we're talking about BPO, a lot of people are talking about also the benefits, and that makes them happy. So what's the benefits that you think making them super, super happy?
So I think when you join 24/7, one of the things, of course, on top of what I've already spoken about in terms of our own ability to manage through health risks, your own safety, in 24/7, we go by what the employee or what our applicant really actually wants to do. And by that, someone comes up to us and says, I want to work from home. I will deploy you to work from home. If someone says, I want to work on site, and you'll be surprised, Grace, despite all of the health risks, there are people who will still say, hey, I prefer to work on site. I love people interaction. I understand the health risks, but I actually also want to make sure I fulfill the social part of my being, right? Which is I want to be in an environment where I'm around my leader and I'm around my teammates. And so in conversation and in application and in discussion with people, we actually make sure we're putting people where they want to be. So I think that's first and foremost, I guess what we try to do and how we make sure people are happy with their work life, right? I think the next part of it is still going back to culture and people. My promise to people in 24/7 is always when they join 24/7, they will just find some of the best leaders and some of the best teammates they will ever meet. We spend a lot of time working on our culture. And by culture, we look at people's behaviors. We look at what is acceptable and not acceptable behaviors. That's the only way for you to actually differentiate as an organization. If you can go out to the market and say you just have an amazing culture and the experience is going to be amazing to people, I think that's the promise that makes people not just join, but more importantly, Grace, I think it's stay with your company. Today, my retention rates of people run at about 95 to 96% a month. So I have people that want to be in the company, want to grow, want to continuously learn, want to make a career, and for some of them even find the love of their lives in the company. So that's the kind of culture that we have.